this is crazy because like I'm not one to be like, guess I was right, pat myself on the back, especially in a situation like this. But like, oh my gosh, did I not say James Charles is a groomer? James Charles is a predator. James Charles take advantage of his fans. James Charles take advantage of his power position. I've said this so many times. Why is anyone surprised? Why is anyone surprised that James Charles is a predator, is a groomer? How is he still on TikTok? TikTok is super, super strict, right? TikTok is super strict as far as bullying, harassment, anything like adult related, like bikinis, like, you know, they're pretty strict. And I've done my very best to be PG on there as possible. Even if there's like a trend that's like, why is anyone surprised? How is he still allowed on this app? He has said his best friend is a 16-year-old and sees absolutely nothing wrong with that. A 21-year-old man sees absolutely nothing wrong with being best friends with a 16-year-old who he met at 15, who he was hanging out with on the regular, socially and otherwise. A 15-year-old! And it always falls under the guise James Charles said it himself. It is textbook groomer. I'm her mentor. It's always under the guise. I'm her mentor. Or the adult will say, oh, this person's my muse. Sia, I'm talking to you. Sia and Maddie Ziegler. That like could be a whole other thing. Sia, in my opinion, is also a groomer. Now, there's allegations of her cuddling and stuff like that, but she has had a super inappropriate relationship with a minor, in my opinion. I mean, it's basically just fact at this point, but grown adults, and James is not even like a late teenager. He's a 21-year-old man in a position of power. And the fact that there's people still defending him, you know who those people are? Those are also underdeveloped minors. James said he wasn't victim blaming. He put out a statement where he admitted to this, to sending these pictures. And he was saying something along the lines of like, this person lied about their age. It is not the minors' fault ever. They are minors for a reason. There's laws set in place for the reason. The reason is they are underdeveloped. The reason is they're not fully capable of making right choices in life. Hence why they are children. And there's laws in place of them not joining like the military and having consensual sex with people. Like, you can't do that as a minor for a very specific reason, that you're underdeveloped and you can't make right choices. You can't make right decisions in life. Oh, and it's so crazy that in the same breath, he's like, I'm not victim blaming. He's victim blaming a minor, blaming them, saying they have underlying ulterior motives. This is the master manipulation of the power dynamic that is so disgusting and gets overlooked because they have fans, because they have money, because they have influence. Because his best friend is a 16-year-old Charlie D'Amelio. I'm looking at you, and the D'Amelio parents, step in. What is wrong with you? Letting your daughter be around a 21-year-old man calling each other besties. Stop going to Boa D'Amelio parents and get your daughter some protection. Because now it is proven that Charlie D'Amelio, a 16-year-old, has been best friends with a groomer. Point blank, period. James Charles has committed a crime, and the excuse of they lied about their age is not an excuse. You are the adult. And some people are like, oh, you're going to check an ID for everyone. Yeah. I saw this video of this minor. This is a child. This is a child. And you added this child on Snapchat. Don't blame him and be like, this. You are the celebrity. You are the one with the followers. This is someone who's idolizing, or whatever it is, whatever the case is, they're idolizing, they're, playing into it, whatever. Don't you dare blame a minor or anyone else but yourself. You made this bet and you need to lie on it. And there needs to be legal repercussions. That's the only way this will change. Because James Charles tweeted himself not too long ago, oh, why are you trying to cancel people? It doesn't work. He's so egotistically boasted. And I agree, like, canceling for, like, whatever. Okay, like, you rip off people's designs and shit like that. Like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, let's bring it to light. Let's bring attention to that because, like, unoriginal, hello. But this is actual crimes. And, like, people need to, just like the David Dobrik situation that's happening right now, I'm so glad there's, like, light being shed onto it because I feel so horrible for the victim involved that for so many years, just like this guy, this new victim with James Charles, so many years people are calling these people clout chasers, when in reality they are actual victims having trauma. And this is trauma. To anyone underage, this is trauma because this is, and on such a big scale, this is going to damage and have long-term horrible consequences long-term for these minors. It's crazy. And they're going to be thinking this is right. And now all of James Charles fans are thinking this is okay because James is putting out a statement explaining his actions. There's no explanation. This guy's a predator. This guy's a predator on social media, specifically an app that's targeted towards children, TikTok. And he has a very large platform and he's being exposed to more and more potential victims because of people like Charli D'Amelio and Dixie D'Amelio promoting him, Charli D'Amelio being a minor. Just like the Lopez brothers, like there's so many victims that come out. And this isn't James Charles' first rodeo. This isn't his first go around with this. Okay, once, you know what, a normal person kind of like learns from their mistakes, I guess. This is a sick individual. James Charles is a sick in the head individual because this happened once, he got away with it, and it continues to happen. And these people can't help themselves. That's not an excuse. That means they need to get help. There needs to be some legal law restrictions coming into place that like holds them down to get them some serious help or get them off the streets or get them offline. Because that's the only way sick people, they need help. Because he's repeating these behaviors. It doesn't make sense to anyone else. Like, oh, like this happened one time. This, you know, like how could he have let this happen again? Because he's sick. There's like a sickness, there's like a disease with these predators and groomers. I did an interview with Courtney Stodden, and like a lot of you may not really remember her, but with Courtney Stodden, she married, or a 50-year-old man married her when she was 16. And at the time, of course, she goes along with it. She's in this media frenzy. She doesn't get into Nicole, all this stuff like that, because to a minor, it's cool. And if you idolize someone, you think it's cool. If there's sort of fame involved, money involved, like you think that, I thought it was cool. So many people, I love when people come to me and be like, well, Trisha, when you were 15, you said you dated a 45. Of course I did. When I was 12, I was with a 45-year-old. Like, that's my fault? I thought it was cool. I thought it was okay. Like, this is the day. And you know what? I thought it was okay. That's the crazy thing. I thought it was okay, right? Like, because we're like conditioned or we idolize and we're like, oh, this person's like an idol. Like we don't get that dynamic until way later on. It took me lots and lots of therapy to realize like this actually was trauma to me. I was like, oh, kind of cool, whatever. And I thought it was so cool. I made videos when I was freaking 21 being like, why I love older men and like why you should date older men too. It's like the manipulation and the abuse. Like you keep thinking you're doing something wrong. Just like this kid now, you know, James is being like, oh, well, he had underlying motives and all these people are calling him clutches. Like this is on a whole other level where like the whole, like half the world, because they're influenced by this guy, is crashing down on victims because they're defending their idols or whatever. This is so insane. It like actually blows my mind. And the fact that James is doing a no apology and that's it. He's gonna be making TikToks with no mask with Larry Ray, Charli D'Amelio, Dixie D'Amelio, and whoever else. Well, Hattie, I don't know. But do you notice that they keep getting younger and younger, right? He has no business being friends with anyone underage. Point blank, period. Female, male, whatever. I said this back in whatever it was, October, November. And he's like, how dare you accuse me of a relationship being inappropriate? Because this is a repeated pattern, James, and you know it. And you deflect and gaslight, manipulate, and take your audience on a ride because they're all underage and underdeveloped as well. That should be illegal. That should be illegal to even have access to minors on social media. You are a predator. He needs to be tried. He needs to be registered as a sex offender. He sent nudes to a minor, point blank, period. No other excuses. There is zero other excuses. He looked older. He lied about his age. He had ulterior motive. You know what? If it sounds silly to you and you have to check their ID, check their ID. But here's a little pro tip. If you have to ask their age, if it's even questionable, stop, move forward. Too young for you, bro. 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 Like there's how this keeps getting excused. Jason Nash, David Dobrik. defending Brandon Calvillo, another influencer that's on TikTok, for dating a 17-year-old when he was 24. Like, the craziness. People calling me bitter. People, it's just like the Woody Allen thing with Mia Farrow and, you know, sticking up for her daughter, who was 6 years old, getting, you know, sexually assaulted by Woody Allen. And people blaming Mia Farrow for being bitter, for being a bitter wife because he left her for her daughter. Like, it's insane. It's so insane to me because of fandoms, because someone has status, that these people just blindly defend. That they just blindly defend and make up excuses. Clout chaser, bitter woman, me, bitter that Jason broke up with you and David didn't want you in the group anymore. No! He broke up with me and kicked me out of the group because I called out a predator. He was dating a 17-year-old. I called it out in that video. I hadn't been broken up with yet. David hadn't exiled me from the group yet. I did that video and then all that happened and I have zero regrets from it. And I'll keep calling it out because this is damaging. This is damaging. This leads people to suicidal thoughts, trips to the mental hospital, high, red flag. This is all me. And I met someone inside of the mental hospital whose son took his own life inside of a mental hospital from trauma, from repeated trauma. Yes, people are born with issues and stuff like that, but so many are given and developed over time. And it starts with these young age, including 16-year-olds. I'm so sick of people being like, they're teenagers, they know they have underlying conditions. You don't know shit at 16, you just don't. You make poor choices and you rely on your parents, and it sucks that people don't have a lot of times good parenting. And yes, I'm talking to the D'Amelios, that they're more concerned about a reality show or getting TikTok brand deals or going to BOA with their daughters. It's sad, and it sucks. And it sucks because now there's people like James Charles. Clearly his parents made poor decisions, very, very poor decisions, by letting him himself was a victim. When Tati was grooming, Tati was friends with a minor. She talked about that mentoring, but she was just taking advantage. She was, I don't know, befriending this minor influencer that she knew was going to blow up because he was on the Ellen Show. He was on CoverGirl. So James was also that having dinners with a 30-something-year-old woman and her husband. That's all grooming. They're like, well, we helped him from the beginning and we did all this for you. So now in return, promote our shitty vitamins or else. Like, he also was a victim. But now this is a pattern of when the victim becomes the abuser, the predator, the groomer, and it is a pattern, and it's sick, and it's gross. And I just think there needs to be something more done, either legally, or the most effective thing is social media-wise. Like, TikTok needs to step in. With the Lopez brothers, why are their accounts still up? Tony, Andreas, James, they're all in this circle. Do you remember James liking tweets defending, like, oh, there's two sides to every story, or this is not that? Like, no. And James admitted the frosting on the cake of all this is he said, yeah, this did happen, but he there's no but. He admitted it. And something needs to be done because guess what? Everything gets just swept under. Every 48 hours is a new cycle. And it's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely repulsive. And this is something more than being problematic or whatever. I've been problematic people online. This is something that's like actual criminal. This is something that's actually damaging, traumatizing, scarring. A lot of victims, a lot of people who fall on. I've just known so many people who were traumatized in this way as a minor and their lives because of the PTSD, because of the way that their brain is constructed, and it sucks. And it sucks to see it. It sucks that this is so easily just being like people are just getting away with this shit. And like more and more people coming around, and you know what, they want to be that cool girl that's next or the cool boy that's next being talked about. And it's just, and whatever, maybe it is like clout or whatever, but it's damaging, and maybe they don't see it's damaging, but it's so damaging. It's so damaging, and it just sucks. It sucks to have PTSD. It sucks to like not be comfortable in relationships or being touched or something like that because of, oh my God, it's so wildly inappropriate. And it's so crazy that all he does is a no apology. And I'm making this video like because it just like is something in my core, but also to let all these underage fans of James, where they're like, oh, well, thanks for explaining the situation, James. Now it makes sense. We love James. Why are all you people coming from James? Why it's all clout? You guys are underdeveloped. You don't understand. Like, you don't understand. Like, it's not appropriate. James Charles is will forever be a predator. He should be registered as that forever. Once you solicit nudes to a minor in any capacity, you should be a registered sex offender, because you have a sickness, and you have a sickness for life. You can get help, you can get treated, you can get locked away, you can be in remission, whatever, but you will have that sickness and disease for the rest of your life, and therefore needs that label to warn everyone else, as it should be. As it should be. Warn everyone else, I have a problem, because you do. And it just needs to be more. It just needs to be talked about more. It's just crazy. It's beyond not liking someone stealing a design, someone being problematic, whatever. This is like serious criminal damaging. And for young people who like don't see the problem with this, like I don't know how else to drive it home. Adults have no business being friends with a minor. If you are someone who is spending a period of time with an adult, or you think they're cool, or like if something's not right, you're being manipulated, you're being abused in some sense of the word. That's just it. That's just it. Even if you don't see it, even if you think it's a fun time, there's some sort of manipulation, whether that's for monetary gain, business gain, some sick level of euthanizing gain, whatever the case is. Like, it's wrong and it's inappropriate, and you should just know that. You should just know that. You know, there's no business being friends with an adult. Best friends if you are under the age of 18. Parents, you should also know that. Like, a 17-year-old has no business going out with 21-year-olds. It's just two different worlds, two different things. 16, 15. It says on Snapchat, don't be adding adult. But you know what? Let me rephrase that. If you're an adult, I'm gonna address this as adults, because, you know, again, like, kids just don't know, and like I get it. Like I used to write to John Travolta when I was like 13 or whatever. Like, you don't really understand boundaries or like any of that stuff, and it's okay. Like you said, it's okay to like obviously look up to people and stuff like that, and like want to have some sort of like connection to them. That is a beautiful thing about social media, and there's totally find ways with boundaries to have communications with, you know, just talking to the youth and influencing them, helping them, encouraging them, sharing stories. I'm sorry, like I just keep waiting for like phone calls and text messages. But if you're an adult, you don't need to befriend a minor. Like, if you're sick and hearing this, it won't make sense to you, but I'm telling you, just don't. Like, there's no making sense of it. Just, it's not appropriate. Obviously, if you're someone of a sane mind and stuff like that, like, you know, and that's no shade to anyone not of a sane mind, they do need help, but obviously that's just like common sense. But yeah, and I get it. And minors are never to blame, ever in any situation. They lied about their age, they did this, they did that, they snuck into it. They're not capable of making decisions. That's why they're minors. That's why there's like legal restrictions on them for a reason. And the adult takes all responsibility, always. So how about just stop messing with young kids? Let them be kids. Let them mess around and fool, not sexually, but like make mistakes with each other. Their own age. They're kids. Parents, do better. Monitor your kids. Don't let them hang out with their bestie who's 21. That's all I gotta say. Hopefully justice will be served in some capacity. And the whole thing is just like, it's just really, it's just like triggering on so many levels, because people just get away with things, and victims will continue to be shamed for it because they're of a lesser power or a lesser advantage. And it's sad.